Welcome back to another episode of Spilling Tea-quila. I'm your host, Ariana Canner, and we have some more shit to spill today and every other day that you see a microphone in my hand. You're welcome. So, what has my life been like lately? Honestly, I'm telling you guys, my life is not boring by any means. Sometimes I wish that it was, but I have not been doing much, and that is by choice. And I mean, I leave the house and next thing you know, I'm getting kicked out of a hotel room at 1 a.m. So I think it's better that I just stay inside. There's so much more life to be lived, and I don't even really want to live in the city I'm living in right now. So I think working towards my goals and my what's next is my top priority right now. And once I'm in a new city, oh my God, I'll be going out all the time. No, I won't be. I better not be. We've worked on the self-control, Ariana. Hopefully. Yeah. So boring, but not boring shit. I've been back in my workout kick, which I'm really happy about. I was very big into working out. It's a lifestyle, not like diets or any of that kind of shit. And then winter hit and I became super, super depressed, I guess. And I didn't really work out. I was unmotivated to work out. But this week, 5 days in a row, I worked out. I'm very proud of that. I've slowly got back into it, but now I feel like I'm back at it. And with working out, a tip that works for me is that I am never hard on myself with working out. Like if I work out one day, great. I try to do it multiple days in a row to form a habit. But like if there's one day that I miss, I'm not like, Ariana, you're never going to get there. I'm like, it was one day. You'll get it tomorrow. Because that is like a little mental trick to ease me into it so I don't feel like it's the end of the world. Because when you miss a day and you feel like it's the end of the world, then you just continue to be hard on yourself. It's all about the patterns that we set for ourselves. And I've been doing cardio and then Pilates as well. And some days I'll just do cardio. Some days I'll just do Pilates. If I do both in one day, that's the goal. But if my body is telling me like it doesn't want to one day, that's okay. As long as I'm doing something and I'm continuously doing something. That's what makes me feel good. Because we work out for our mind too. So if we're beating ourselves up about working out and the way we look and blah, 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 then listen, what are we doing for our mind? Well, now we're really fucking with it, going from one extreme to another. Who's with me? I think it makes sense. It is a Friday night and I don't usually drink at home, especially by myself. But I wanted to celebrate a little something for me today that I can't talk about yet. And I was like, let's go get a bottle of wine and just have like a glass or two, right? Nothing crazy. Record a podcast episode and celebrate with me. I mean, I don't know. I've had a lot of alone time lately and me, we've gotten really close. I literally walk past the mirror. I'm like, what's up? High five the mirror. You're doing great, sweetie. Honestly, the most healthy relationship I've ever had in my life is with myself. They say it's all it's cracked out to be. And now having that healthy relationship with myself, it is all that and a bag of chips. Oh my God. I did not just say that. Like, they're going to know I'm a millennial. Fuck. It's okay. Another thing I wanted to talk about, ADHD. Apparently, we all have it. I actually have it, but we all fucking have it. I really, really, really do have it. So, anyone I talk to says that they have ADHD and they're probably self-diagnosing themselves. Some people say they are on medication, which means they've been diagnosed, and others say they're not, but they have it. And if they took their medication, like their life would just skyrocket to the direction they want it to be, and they like need to be medicated. And I just don't get it. How does everyone have ADHD? I believe it, but how? Are there other problems with the mind that people aren't being diagnosed as? Do we not have enough studies on the mind? I think we do, but I don't know enough. All I know is that people probably shouldn't be diagnosing themselves. And probably everyone doesn't have ADHD, but if they did and everyone needed Adderall, my vote is for making Adderall a vitamin. Yeah. Let's just put it over the counter. Everyone's getting it anyway. And let's make it a vitamin. It's better than people buying stuff off the streets. Let's just keep it that way. And I'm not buying anything off the streets. I actually have ADHD and I'm diagnosed. No, I will not tell you what pharmacy I go to or my date of birth. Okay. Enough of that. But like, honestly, if anyone really does have anything to say about that, if they think it's other things, I don't know. Any feedback is welcomed and appreciated. I wanted to get into a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while. And I go back and forth in my mind of really how to express this because I think it's really important and I don't want it to be boring, me talking about it, or like, I don't know, like I want to get the message across well. So I have a microphone in my hand, I'm on camera, and I'm ready to talk. I wanted to talk about like what luxuries in life are to me and dive a little deep into why I feel this way and my perspective. I think that we have this idea that luxuries are the huge house, multiple homes, a yacht, designer items, unlimited vacations. And like while they are all luxuries, I don't think that they are like the initial luxuries. Like I think there's a lot more in life that is luxurious that we don't put in the category of a luxury as a luxury. Everything I say like is for you to better understand where I come up with these thoughts. It's not to put myself in any type of category. But I've said this before, I grew up with a single mother, and obviously that impacted my life a lot. But I grew up without a dad, and I didn't know what life was like with a dad. So it really didn't affect me the way people thought it would affect me because I didn't know anything else. To me, that was my norm. And I definitely was put in categories of like, oh, she, just has her mom and her dad's not in the picture and she must have a lot of issues. And that has happened to me a lot of times in my life. And I definitely do have a lot of issues, but who the fuck doesn't? All that matters is that you're working on your issues. But it shouldn't be looked at that way. Instead, people should look at their situation and think, if they are a parent, like, I'm so fortunate that my kids have their father. That's a luxury, having your parents. And the kids shouldn't think, well, she doesn't have a dad. They should think, I am so lucky that in this lifetime, I get to have a dad. I'm talking from my own examples, so take what resonates and the way it does, and don't take what doesn't. I think that is probably one of my biggest examples of recognizing what was a luxury, what wasn't, because I kind of got tired of being like the daddy issues girl. I really did. I'm like, I want to be better. Like, I want to work on whatever issues I have. Also, I really don't, my daddy issues really didn't come until I turned 24. That's when I met my dad. And then he walked out of the picture. Then I had like daddy issues. I was like, hold up, wait. Now I know what it's like to have a dad. And now I have to go back and revert. Then some daddy issues came. But prior to that, there was no daddy. So there was no issues. But I was put in the category as if there was. And it was kind of like, okay, well, at least Ariana's pretty because like her life's fucked up. And I've heard that many times, believe it or not. And I would just get so uncomfortable and I wouldn't really know why. And it's because I didn't want to be put in that category. I didn't want to be a victim. I didn't want that. And at the end of the day, I was smart enough to recognize someone else having a dad is a luxury. I'm not looking at that as, why don't I? That's supposed to be normal. I'm like, that's a luxury. I also like, my mom was a young single mother. She really wasn't, she was working a lot. She was financially two parents in one. And I raised myself a lot of my life, like a lot of my life. And that was my norm. That made me who I am today. And I wouldn't change that for the world. So people that have both of their parents and have both of their parents there and are taken care of, that's a luxury. And that's still really rarely, I don't want to say rarely, but that isn't always the case. I know a lot of people that have two parents that are together and probably shouldn't be. And maybe the picture looks good because it looks normal because both parents are there and they have a house and they look like one big happy family. But inside, it's like the most diabolical thing. So you're lucky if you have two parents that get to be parents where you get to be the kid and you get to be raised by them. This goes into this, I say my example because it's how I can express why I feel this way. But there are so many different tiers to this. I know there's people with divorced parents. So now you're lucky if it's a luxury if you don't have a broken home. And I don't think anything that ever happens to you that is negative or categorized as negative and not the norm should ever feel like you're mentally fucked. There's a lot of talk in the world that things are traumatic. It's hard to come back from certain things. Life's going to be traumatic at times. We're going to have trauma to whatever severity any person has trauma. We're all going to have some sort of trauma and our worst is all going to be our worst. We are so lucky to be here. That's where I think the luck comes in. Like, I think that's normal. We're here. We're human. We have to fucking learn how to deal with that. But like, luxuries, I know that like I have a roof over my head. That's a luxury. I know that I have a mother. That is a luxury. Some people have no parents. Some people don't have a roof over their head. I'm from America. Some people aren't from America. Some people aren't born into a country where they have the luxury of like going to school, providing for themselves. We have social media, which can be, we can bash it all we want, but that's a luxury. We get to see so much of the world and want more for ourselves. Things that we wouldn't even have known before. There are just so many different, more simple luxuries in this world that we take for granted every single day. And I'm not saying this in the context of we need to be less selfish. And I'm like, no, society put these fucking norms on us. They're bullshit. How about we start being more grateful for the luxuries that we do have so our mind can be a better place? I don't want anyone in this world to feel because of their story or because of something that has happened to them that is traumatic, they have issues and it's unrecoverable. Honestly, the way I view it is if you've gone through a lot of shit in life, you're just that much stronger than someone who hasn't gone through the shit you've gone through. And that pertains to every person. because we all have our own shit that we've gone through. Another example is college. College is looked at like, oh, did you go to college? Did you not go to college? What do you do for work? It is a luxury to be able to go to college. Not everyone has that luxury. And if they don't have that luxury, it says nothing about that person. And by you putting that person in a category, you're making it say something, which is actually making it harder for that person to believe in themselves and make something of themselves. And I think that's the real problem. Don't look down on anyone else for something that you had and they didn't have the luxury of having. It's just not fair. And it doesn't mean that they can't create their own reality, great reality in another way. I think the problem is society making people feel like there's no hope based off of things that people had no control over. Society says we go to college, we find a job, we find a partner, we have kids, we have a family. Or, you move out of college, you move into your first apartment and all of these things that are categorized as normal. But every single thing that I just said lightly is a luxury that you're lucky to have. There are so many people that get to genuinely live their teenage years and live their 20s and really not have to worry about much. And that is such a luxury. I definitely did not have those luxuries. I really had to figure out how to fend for myself and become independent before I could even think about having a family. And I'm just happy that I didn't settle in a relationship to try to create the family in another way and not myself grow in the ways that I had to grow. And this is another reason why people are at all different aspects of their life. Age doesn't define where you're supposed to be because everyone's journey is so freaking different. And I think that if we sit there and we can recognize that and listen to people's journey and understand what makes someone unique, that's so much cooler than judgment. Fuck judgment. I see a lot of the time that people judge other people for whatever, not having this socially normal lifestyle. And then all of a sudden later in life, they start to deal with their traumatic experiences. And it's the biggest wake up call. And what that says to me is we all need reality checks because we might have something right now that we won't have tomorrow or in the next 10 years. And we may not have something traumatic in our life right now, but that's not saying something traumatic's not going to happen. So I think that even if you can't relate to something, it's better to just understand that you can't, but not judge it because it's going to be you at some point. Make it a little easier on yourself. Try to understand. Understanding versus judging is life-changing. Motherfucking life-changing. And I've definitely made judgments in my life. I've made judgments and anytime I've judged something, I truly feel like I've just looked so dumb because it's either I've fell in the category of something I judge. That's usually what happens. The things that we judge normally happen to us. Life has a funny way of working out. I don't know. This is a hard topic to talk about because I really need to see how people understand and relate to it. I really have a lot more to speak on with it. And I would like some feedback. If this is helpful, if I should keep it to myself, but I needed to talk on it because it was something that felt heartfelt. I really just want it to be normal for us not to be normal, if that makes sense. That's the kind of sense I'm trying to make. But yeah, so I didn't drink wine that whole time. I need to chug a rosé. Let's answer some questions. Are there really good men out there? I'm currently going through a breakup and I'm really struggling with the idea that I'm never going to find a good man who treats me well, doesn't want other people, won't lie to me. My ex wasn't even a good boyfriend yet. I feel like he's the best I'm going to find. I just can't imagine a genuinely good man liking me. For some reason, I feel like I'm too high maintenance and I have so many weird things about me that make me fundamentally unlikable. I'm afraid that I'm going to be alone forever unless I tolerate a level of disrespect that is unacceptable to me. Are my standards just too high to expect my boyfriend to not lie and hide things from me, to not want other people? Does a person like that even exist? Genuine question, because I just don't know anymore. Honestly, girl, I've been there. No shade, no shame. I have been there, so I get it. I have had moments of losing hope completely and wondering how I could lower myself to just find something or someone, because I thought the problem was me. But with a lot of time that I've spent alone and just a lot of keeping it real with myself, and this is my opinion, I think that there's gonna be more bad than good when dating. And it doesn't mean that it needs to be really, really bad. It just means that more isn't gonna, if you're looking for the one you wanna settle down with, then there's going to be more people that you reject or reject you. And that's just how the cookie's gonna crumble. Because imagine a world where you got anyone you wanted. Who would be the one? They would all seem great, right? So I think that your standards are not too high. I think honestly, that's the bare minimum for standards. I think that it's just going to take a little mental work to rewire the mind to know that what you want exists, and someone who respects you and is faithful to you is the bare minimum. And just build up that self-esteem to be able to take a few hits, honestly. But I get it. The dating is fucking scary and it's not easy. But if we want to do it, we just have to be smart about it, and we cannot negotiate our standards. Next question. After a breakup, how did you bounce back? What helped you become a happier person after a breakup? Ooh, breakups suck. They suck so much. I think give yourself grace there. And something I've been thinking about lately, analyzing my past relationships and just seeing people go through breakups, trying to figure out what helped me. I think I was more scared of the idea of being scared, the idea of being sad, the idea of making a wrong choice. And those things kept me in a relationship longer or prevented me from mourning the loss. When in reality, every single breakup I've had has been difficult to work through the emotions of getting over, but I'm so happy that I'm out of those relationships. And not all of them were terrible. They just weren't the right match. And I just think there's light on the other side, and it's so hard to see that in the moment. I think that there's no way around working through the emotions. You have to sit with the emotions. You have to work through the emotions. And in return, you wind up working so much on yourself that you grow into a different person and you don't even recognize it. And by the time you're happy again, you grew into a person that wouldn't even want what you recently had. So I think working out helps a lot. Like journaling. And the mind is a tricky place. The more you tell yourself you're not going to be okay, the longer it takes. The more you tell yourself you're going to be okay, even when you don't feel like it, you get through it more. Breakups suck. But if we want to get into a relationship, we have to know that it could end and that it will suck when it ends. Our life is not over, even though it does feel like it in the moment. And we just have to get through it. I hope that helps. How do I heal after being cheated on? My boyfriend cheated on me this week and was caught by one of my friends. My entire world feels like it's been flipped upside down. I'm so devastated. I can't eat or think straight. I genuinely don't know what to do. Being cheated on sucks. It sucks so much because you do feel like you were the reason why, but you're not the reason why. And I think with time, you'll recognize that. Talk about a breakup. Being cheated on, you need to take so much time to yourself to make sure you are giving yourself that love, and that like, just because one person hurt you doesn't mean everyone else is going to hurt you. There's a lot to work out in the mind. That one really takes time because you don't want to get into another relationship and blame someone else from someone else's, like your ex's mistakes. That's never fair for you or that person. I think it's a lot of mental work of recognizing just because one person did something to you doesn't mean everyone else will, and that it's not your fault. It has nothing to do with you. It says so much more about that person. And it hurts and it's shitty, and you're allowed to feel however you freaking feel. You just have to make sure, again, you work through it. So then you can have someone who treats you really good. It does exist. It's out there. I see a lot of the times that people who put the work in on themselves after being hurt in a relationship find like the best person ever. It's like, oh, that was your bad person, and now you got through it. Here's your really fucking incredible person. So the stats don't lie. Next question. Afraid to date again, terrified actually. I've had quite a few situationships that I thought were going to turn into things, but imploded before they ever could. As someone with attachment trauma, this has been extremely damaging, and I'm honestly scared to death to date again and feel I have developed an aversion to it. My last situation truly made me feel like I'm a hard person to love, which I already felt like because I just come with a lot of trauma, which I'm trying to work on healing. And it made me definitely not want to date, as I've just internalized the fact that I'm just a burden and not sure anyone will truly understand and love me, flaws included. Just feel very defeated. I've been there. I have so been there. And I think that if you are putting yourself in these categories of being too traumatized, coming with too much baggage, you're going to be put in those categories, and you're probably not going to find what's great out there for you because you're not being great to yourself. You need to love on yourself, even when you don't feel like you should, because if you're not going to love yourself, someone else isn't going to. Someone's going to see right through that. I mean, think about looking to date someone who didn't love themselves. That sounds pretty difficult. I think that you're not too difficult at all. You just view yourself that way. So you're going to be put in, but also I get it. Like, honestly, I feel like we need to like build ourselves up for dating to be like, okay, I'm going out in the field. I'm going to go on some dates. We need to be prepared to be denied. We need to be prepared that more things don't work out than do. Like, we need these mental fucking checklists of like making sure that we'll be good when it doesn't work, because I see all of the time, and I've had it happen to me so many times. Something doesn't work. We internalize it. We're crushed. It's so hard to bounce back from. We think everyone else is going to be that way. We manifest these situations and patterns constantly, when in reality, like, some things just don't work out for me, and most things don't work out. And I'm still waiting for the right thing too. And I've had things work out and then they didn't. So none of it's easy, but if we want to be dating and doing the damn thing, then we gotta build it up so we can handle the heat. My ex-boyfriend said to me when we broke up, Ariana, you need someone who can handle the heat. And I was like, ooh. In my mind, I was like, I agree with you. I'm adding that to my checklist. Woo! Well, I'm going to help my friend move this weekend. Or like drink, move, pack, dance party vibes. I'm excited. I need every motherfucker here to subscribe to my channel. Please do it. And I'm happy that this is how I spent my Friday. Please respond. Talk to me. Please talk to me. Interact with me. Okay? I will see you all same time, same place next week. Mwah.